Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Modular, the Warframe mod review series. Today we're going to take a look at an augment I've been waiting for since it came up on the design council, and that's the augment for Nyx's Absorb Assimilate. The mod itself can be purchased from the Arbiters of Hexis or New Loka by rising to their max rank and spending 25,000 to be able to buy it. So what does the mod do once you have bought it? Well, what it does is when the mod is installed, you will be able to move at 50% speed while having Absorb active, at the cost of the Absorb being half its range. While it's active, you also cannot sprint or jump or naturally do any parkour moves whatsoever. The actual mod itself is technically not affected by anything whatsoever, although naturally any changes to the base ability will have a knock-on effect on the augment. Increasing the range will mean that the reduced range isn't quite as brutal as it would be otherwise, and reducing the drain to the absolute minimum will also help to keep the ability up for longer. So what do I actually think about the augment now it's actually here, now I can play with it? Well, quite simply, I really like the mod quite a lot, although it is a little bit situational. The 50% reduction in movement speed is brutal, and means that on a highly mobile mission like Exterminate or Spy or something like that, it can be difficult to get it to work properly unless it's a high enough level where the mission slows down enough, where the slowness of your own frame really isn't going to matter. However, where this augment comes into its own is a mission that isn't quite so mobile. So for example, defense, interception, even excavation. Something where you had to defend something specific against a lot of enemies at once, without having to move around too much. This augment is almost like total invincibility at that point, especially for the majority of the content we have in the game right now. You can see in the footage behind now, this is the third part of the sortie, so it's at the highest level of the sortie. Granted, it's against infested, but those guys at that high level, easily enough to one-shot even a well-built Nyx, and I can defend the point without ever caring that I can take a hit. You can see me taking the hits and I don't even notice. But even against high fire rate enemies like, for example, the level 100 heavy gun, as you can see in the background now, the drain on the Absorb is easily more than enough to be able to tank these guys long enough to kill them. Used either in a time when you're looking for a little bit of extra tank in case you get into trouble, or if you're just going to use it constantly. Assimilate can bring some useful defense to your team. They can hide inside the Absorb bubble and not get hit while you move, for example, covering the objective if you're missing one of the standard defensive frames, or even activating it so you can just revive a teammate. This gives Nyx an incredible tank. Not only that, but because the damage from Absorb is pretty terrible at higher levels, to be honest, especially with it being magnetic damage, you can mod with the build that I have on the screen now. We've got max range with overextended, stretching, cunning, drift, so you have a pretty epic range with chaos, as well as a decent range on your Assimilate bubble. Primed continuity to bring up the duration a bit, which is good not only for chaos and bringing down the drain and absorb, it's also great for mind control. Then we have fleeting and streamline for efficiency, and then redirection to take a hit when you're out of the bubble, although that can be changed to vitality if you want to. The aura really is what you want, however I really like the utility of enemy radar. This is a pretty solid build that's done fine for whatever I've needed it to do so far, whether it be soloing defense, defending the mobile defense target, or the sortie defense target, or tanking anything in the world while I revive a teammate. There's a couple of tricks that can help with the augment as well. Both of these tricks are related to melee, however. Firstly is the use of the Rift Strike mod for the Twin Basalt, which everyone forgets even exists. Using that can help to close the gap between yourself and the enemy. Just charge attack with your cursor over the enemy to just teleport to them and do a charge strike. It really allows you to get around that mobility penalty that Assimilate brings. In addition to that, simply if you use a melee weapon that has a lot of forward momentum in it, you can keep pulling that forward moving combo, and that can help with the momentum and mobility that Assimilate cuts in half. But the augment itself, if you're a Nyx player, this is totally worth picking up, and can become a huge part of her arsenal, part of her skill set. Combine Assimilate with Chaos, and you're pretty much an unkillable tanking machine that even high level units can't take down easily. And this has actually given me an idea for a new series I'm going to start in the next few days, but it is totally worth picking up and using. One of the things I don't like or didn't like about Nyx was the lack of a defensive ability. She was so squishy, just got hit once by an enemy that either wasn't chaos or was too close, and she would go down at those higher levels. Well, I mean to be fair, you had obviously absorbed before, but you were just stuck on the spot, soaking up damage. But this augment's fixed that, but it's also given a whole bunch of possibilities and some interesting synergy that can really make it absolutely amazing and a ton of fun to use. Now, I hope you guys all enjoyed my look at this augment. I'm going to be looking at the augments that came out this week as well. I apologise for the lack of videos this week. Unfortunately, I got burgled on Monday, so my head's not really been in the game as to wanting to make videos and stuff like that. However, I am back. Next week will be more Warframe content as per usual. So comments, questions, queries in the comments below, and I shall see you in the next video.